Something is happening in Los Angeles, and every new detail makes the case harder to understand. A missing teenage girl, a rising artist known for dark, unsettling aesthetics, conflicting statements from authorities, and an online community that keeps uncovering information before the police ever speak. What began as a missing person notice is now one of the strangest ongoing investigations in California. Celeste Rivas Hernandez was officially listed as a runaway. Young, vulnerable, and difficult for her family to track, she moved in circles most teenagers never approach. Somehow, she crossed paths with David, an artist gaining momentum and attention, especially among fans drawn to his horror-themed imagery. People who attended his shows describe a heavy visual universe, coffins on stage, references to gore, and a general fascination with violent symbolism. Whether it was artistic branding or something else, no one questioned it at first. What worried people later were the photos and videos circulating on social media. In several clips, Celeste appears in the background, wearing hoodies that cover most of her face, avoiding the camera, always standing a few steps behind the group. Never tagged, never acknowledged, never included in official photos. The pattern made many online investigators wonder, if she was part of the entourage, why was she kept out of every public shot? One date keeps coming up, June 2024. At the Fonda Theater in Los Angeles, David held a show that fans still discuss today. Multiple attendees claim Celeste was present, standing near David's younger brother, moving around backstage with the inner circle. Yet when fans later reviewed the group pictures, she was missing from every single one. Not blurred, not cropped, simply absent. For many following the case, this was the first sign that something around her presence didn't match what was being shown publicly. Months later, the story took its most disturbing turn. Celeste's body was found inside the front trunk of David's Tesla. The frunk, a compartment so small that the discovery alone raised immediate concerns. Early police reports added confusion by stating that officers could not determine whether the remains were male or female. Specialists online quickly pointed out that even with significant decomposition, certain bones usually reveal sex. If authorities couldn't make that determination, some began questioning what state the remains were truly in. That's when the first contradictions started to appear. TMZ released information claiming the body had been dismembered and frozen at some point. Hours later, the LAPD publicly stated that the remains were not found frozen, yet they didn't address whether freezing occurred before the body was moved. They also didn't deny the dismemberment claim. That silence created more questions than answers. The medical examiner's office then revealed that the LAPD had requested an unusual gag order, blocking the release of basic information about the cause and manner of death. According to people inside the office, this was not standard procedure. They pointed out that they had handled far more high-profile cases without any restrictions. Usually, releasing the cause of death helps the public connect information and encourages witnesses to speak. In this case, everything was shut down. The coroner reportedly pushed back, calling the blackout unacceptable. Strangely, just as the gag order was being enforced, TMZ released another set of details, this time citing sources in Santa Barbara. The timing was too precise for many observers. The blackout had barely begun, yet information was already leaking elsewhere. This led to speculation that someone inside the medical examiner's office was communicating with the media, and that the gag order may have been the LAPD's attempt to stop the leaks altogether. Meanwhile, another troubling detail emerged. LAPD documents listed Celeste's weight at 71 pounds despite an estimated height of 5'2". Experts and commentators noted that such a low weight could indicate extreme starvation or long-term control. Others questioned how a body of that size could fit inside the Tesla's frunk without alteration or manipulation. A supposed employee at the processing facility later claimed she arrived in one piece and mummified, but that statement only deepened the confusion. If she was intact, why couldn't officers identify gender at the scene? At this point, online investigators stepped in with full force. Reddit threads multiplied. Twitter threads cross-checked information. Fans who had followed David's career began posting screenshots, photos, and timestamps, trying to reconstruct where Celeste had been, who she was with, and what happened in the months leading to her disappearance. And their findings pushed the story even further into public attention. As the public tried to understand how Celeste ended up in the front trunk of a Tesla, attention shifted to the people surrounding David. The more investigators online examined his circle, the more the dynamics around him appeared unclear. Two names came up repeatedly: Josh Marshall and Rob. On paper, Josh was listed as David's manager, but fans who attended his shows insisted that the person actually present at every venue, the one handling access, organizing backstage movement, and controlling who got near the artist, was Rob, his tour manager. This detail became important when discussions turned to fake IDs and age verification. If Celeste attended events, traveled with the group, or entered age-restricted spaces, someone in David's orbit had to know. And for many online analysts, Rob was the most likely gatekeeper. He arranged VIP entries, coordinated security teams, and even arranged travel logistics. People who interacted with him said he was the one deciding who stayed close to the artist and who didn't. The question that kept coming up was simple. If Celeste was underage, how did she stay so close to David's circle without anyone raising concerns? Another element resurfaced months after the body was found: an email allegedly sent to David's management. The message reportedly warned that he was involved with a missing 13-year-old girl. According to online investigators, Josh Marshall denied ever receiving such an email, but screenshots circulating online claimed that Rob had access to the same inbox. The timing raised eyebrows. The day after the email was supposedly sent, Celeste briefly returned home. No one knows whether this was coincidence or whether someone within the team was frightened by the warning. What concerned the public was the lack of follow-up. If the email existed, why didn't the management team respond? And if it didn't, why did multiple independent online sleuths insist they had traced its origin? At the same time, a separate controversy started gaining attention: the freezer video. In September 2024, David posted a short online clip filmed inside a studio. For most viewers, it was unremarkable. But when Celeste's case became public, Reddit users revisited the footage and noticed a large Sub-Zero freezer in the background. Because TMZ had mentioned a freezing-related detail, the clip quickly went viral. Online investigator Matthew Thibodeau tracked down the location where the video had been filmed and identified the producer present that day, Andrew Luce. When questioned, Andrew said the freezer belonged to his girlfriend, who loved Dippin' Dots and had purchased it months earlier. He insisted the freezer had never been moved and had no connection to Celeste. Some accepted the explanation, others didn't. The image of a large, industrial freezer appearing shortly before the discovery of a decomposed body was enough to divide people into two camps. The conflict between online investigators and the LAPD intensified around this time. Thibodeau openly challenged parts of the official timeline and called out what he believed were inaccuracies from Detective Stephen Fisher, the lead investigator. Their exchanges became public, with each undermining the other's credibility. For viewers and commentators, the dispute didn't prove anything, but it made the investigation look fragmented, as if no one involved was working with the same information. Alongside this, questions began to rise about the LAPD's approach. Critics wanted to know if the police had officially interviewed anyone from David's circle, Rob, Josh, or even producers and assistants who were often with him. The department remained silent. They also avoided confirming whether David himself had been brought in for questioning. What fueled speculation was a brief comment from the police stating he was not cooperating. Legal experts quickly pointed out that a person can only refuse to cooperate after a formal request has been made. If he was never asked to come in, how could he decline? And if he had been asked and refused, why hadn't the LAPD stated the date of that request? The deeper people looked, the more contradictions surfaced. Some commentators questioned why basic information, such as the time frame during which Celeste's body was in the Tesla, had never been clarified. Others wondered why the autopsy report was still blocked behind a gag order described as unusual by the medical examiner. And many pointed to the timing of the TMZ leaks, which repeatedly appeared right when official information went silent. This left the public with two narratives. The official one, fragmented, limited, and heavily restricted. And the unofficial one, built from leaks, online investigations, fan evidence, and inconsistencies between public statements. Today, the unofficial version of events appears more detailed than anything authorities have released. And that leads to the questions at the center of this case. Why did basic information get sealed so quickly? Why have the interviews not been publicly confirmed? Why did the warning email vanish from the record? Why is there no clear timeline for when Celeste entered the Tesla? And why are online investigators filling gaps that the LAPD won't address? The case remains open. The silence from authorities continues. And the longer it lasts, the more the internet works to fill in the missing pieces on its own.